Are you expecting the Canon RF 200 to 500mm, the RF 70 to 200mm, or what about the 50 or 24mm f1.4? Well then stick around, as we have a teaser from Canon as well as some leaked information to share with you about 4 lenses to be announced before the end of 2024. Actually scratch that, 6 lenses, because we've got a pair of lenses from Sigma that'll start shipping soon. But before we get to the details, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, helps this channel grow, and keeps you up to date on the latest camera coverage. Earlier today, Canon USA tweeted a teaser about 3 hybrid lenses to come to light on October the 30th. You can see a new power zoom lens silhouetted next to the RF 24-105 f2.8 and the RF 35mm f1.4 VCM. Well, it's centered between 2 other lenses that are silhouetted but of the same size. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that one of those is the 24mm f1.4L VCM and the other the 50mm f1.4 VCM. Both lenses that we talked about earlier this year. I know many have been waiting for more information on the rumored 24mm f1.4 L series VCM, as well as the 50mm f1.4 L VCM lens. And even others have been wondering, well, why do we need another 70 to 200mm f2.8? I mean, this one here is currently $300 off and still pricey at $24.99. So what is the difference between this new 70 to 200mm f2.8 L image stabilized, well, USM Z, than the other one, which isn't a Z? Well, quite simply put, that Z, it should be a PZ because the Z represents power zoom. And this new lens is really kind of a nod to video shooters like myself. It's got many capabilities that most photographers really wouldn't need. So if you've got the older f2.8 70 to 200mm, you can probably give this one a miss unless you shoot a lot of video. Some of the capabilities of this lens is, well, it has several features such as quasi-parfocal zooming, and that's the ability to zoom without losing focus. Zoom in or zoom out. And Canon also provided an aperture ring that so far only works in video. And the focus motor in all power zoom lenses is, well, whisper quiet, another important capability when shooting video, especially if you're close to your talent. And if you own this one here and are a video shooter, this lens is definitely going to be appealing, but don't expect it to be cheap. The 24-105 f4, where it's f4 throughout the entire focal range, is $12.99. Now the 24-105 f2.8, again, now we are moving from a constant f4 to an f2.8, so we are going to pay a little bit more for that, but you're paying $29.99. That's a huge difference. So again, looking at the price of the 70 to 200mm f2.8, the non-power zoom, I think it's safe to expect that the 70 to 200mm f2.8, the power zoom version, isn't going to be priced much less than $29.99. But now what about pricing on the other 2 lenses, the 24mm f1.4 L VCM and the 50mm f1.4 L VCM. Sorry, I'm laughing here. Sometimes it's a bit of a tongue twister to say all this together. Try this out loud 5 times or 10 times fast. 24mm f1.4 L VCM. It's a bit of a mouthful. Anyway, the price of these, well, I'd expect them to be priced right around the same price as the existing 35mm f1.4 at $14.99. We still have one more big announcement coming up related to Canon, and we have a couple of Sigma lenses that are going to start shipping shortly, but I want to talk to you about the recent smart preorder links that I just popped up on the lower 1/3. I also have the links in the description down below because, as we've seen in 2024, despite all the issues of 2020 supposedly being fixed, supply shortages and whatnot, the R5 Mark II is still on back order, and up until recently, the 200-800 has been hard to get. And with the R5 Mark II, not only has it been hard to get, that it's been hard to get battery grips, although I was lucky to get mine, but even though I have the CF R20B GP BP, I can't read something like that, the one with a cooling fan, CF version, I don't have any batteries to go in here, just the one battery that came with my R5 Mark II. So one of the reasons I start doing live streams of these announcements, and also to provide you with my smart pre-order links, is if you're interested and even if you're partially on the fence about getting any of these lenses, one of the best things you can do is pre-order it. Pay careful attention to the shipping date. It's usually at least 2 weeks, and with the announcement that we had in October last year, it was 6 weeks before they started shipping the 200 to 800 and the 24 to 105. You had to wait even longer. So if you want to copy down the links that I have in the description down below, these guys right here, and bookmark them, what it's going to help you do as we get to the live stream coverage, which I'll talk about in a moment, if you want to refresh those, you'll be one of the first to be able to pre-order the lens of choice, whether it's the 70 to 200 millimeter, the 24 millimeter prime, the 50 millimeter, or what else Canon might actually have ready for us to ship. What that's going to do, it might only save you 5 to 20, maybe even 30 seconds, depending on how quick you are with your hands and the mouse. But that could mean the difference between getting the lens when it ships or waiting the better part of a year, as some people did with a 200 to 800. And I know it's frustrating. It really is. I would have thought that after 2022, most of the world kind of settled down. We're starting to see much better prices for cars and a lot of things. And the R5 Mark II, while it did get a bit of a price jump of around $400 or $500, if we take into account inflation, it wasn't a cash grab. I would have liked to have seen it a little bit cheaper, but I know it's frustrating. And you know, I can hear some viewers screaming into their computers saying, my God, Canon, before you announce anything else, can you at least ship me my 200 to 800, my R5, my battery grip, my batteries, for heaven's sakes? I know, I'm just saying that's one of the reasons why I do provide these smart pre-order links. But again, they're not going to show anything right now. Once the embargo is lifted, which I will cover off in my live stream on October the 30th. The date and time, the exact date and time, well, once I have that information, I'll tweet it out, and I'll also put it out in an upcoming video. But now let's turn our attention to another announcement. So we covered off the first announcement, which is on October the 30th. The second announcement is happening sometime in November, and it's for the Canon RF 200 to 500 millimeter. And this lens is really aimed at people looking at the R1, or more specifically, people that have already pre-ordered the R1, but it hasn't shipped yet. It's not supposed to start shipping until November the 26th, at least according to B&H. And last week, I checked out with one of my reliable sources, asking if this person had heard anything about the 200 to 800 millimeter. Can we expect it in November? And the person told me the 200 to 800 millimeter is still likely, but I as yet don't have confirmation. And today, Canon Rumors says that we're still hearing November for that one, referring to the RF 200 to 500 millimeter, likely around the time that the EOS R1 begins shipping in late November. We hope to hear more about when that masterpiece will make an appearance. And if you'll recall, October last year, actually, it wasn't October, wasn't it? It was November the 2nd, I believe, November the 1st or 2nd. Canon had an announcement, and it was about 3 lenses. The RFS lens kind of eludes me. I think it was the 10 to 18 millimeter. If I'm off a little bit on the focal range, my apologies. Not a lot of people pre-ordered that one. But the 24 to 105 f2.8 was also announced and didn't start shipping until the new year. But the big surprise to everybody, not only for the price of the 200 to 800 millimeter, which I have right here, being $18.99, expecting it to be a little bit more expensive, was that almost instantly it went on the apologies for not shipping Canon page with all the list of equipment that they're, well, apologize for not being able to ship. And it stayed on there for the better part of a year. Well, I did a pre-order to cover that because I think whenever there's something interesting being announced, I like to cover it with my live panel, my expert live panel, where we can talk about the lenses, who they're for, what we think is significant about it. And I thought the 200 to 800 was significant. Now, it is quite a bit heavier than the 100 to 500 millimeter. And if we extend both lenses, we can see, I can't even do this with, I need 4 hands. We can see that the size difference is just absolutely huge, and it's definitely heavier. Now, at the Closest focal range you've got here is 200, and on the 100 to 500 you've got 100. I really do like this lens in terms of sharpness. It's an L series. It's second to none, and for most situations that's the lens I would use. But it goes to 500, and with a 2x extender, or when you're cropping in, you're going to find that 600, 800, having that extra reach is huge in some situations. And if you're shooting in good lighting, we're not talking dawn or dusk because that will be a challenge for this guy here, but if you're shooting in good lighting, the 200 to 800 isn't far off of the f5.6 or even the 100 to 500. It's a really solid lens. So I'm really curious to see what the actual specifications of all three lenses are and their pricing. So don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned, because as soon as I have that information, I'll let you know. I have one source who's been very good to let me know that information, but it usually doesn't happen until about, well, a day or two beforehand. So on October the 30th, I've been wanting to say September the 30th, all video. Hopefully I haven't left that in there as a mistake, but if so, I'll try and bleep it out. But October the 30th, it's Canon USA that's made the tweet. So I'd predict we'd get the announcement around 10 o'clock in the morning. It could come as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not expecting a midnight announcement. And again, I'm talking, because we're talking Canon USA here, I'm talking about Eastern time. So that's Toronto and New York time. So I will be doing a live stream. I'll schedule that live stream as soon as I have more information. So I'm really excited. And of course, sometime in November, again, everyone seems to be indicating that it's happening. But again, there is a chance it could get pushed into Q1. We already saw that with the R6 Mark II. We've seen that with many Sony cameras, not just Canon. It's not just Canon that's having trouble getting enough components. All the camera manufacturers are having trouble. We haven't seen anything from Panasonic yet, and they're 6 years overdue for a refresh of the S1 and the S1R. Sony's due to refresh many cameras, the A9 II. We had some Sony Alpha rumors put out some information, but it was wild rumors, so I haven't covered that. I want to wait till we get some more accurate stuff. The R6 Mark III was supposed to be announced right around now, but that's got pushed into Q1. So a lot of really interesting stuff is coming out. And I almost forgot, I almost closed out this video without mentioning something else. Sigma. Do you recall back in April when Sigma made an announcement of 5 Canon RF lenses designed for APS-C cameras like the R100, R50, R7, R10? Well, they made an announcement. They didn't ship anything at that point. They've shipped one lens, and actually there was a leak. Adobe. They've been getting themselves in a lot of trouble lately. People haven't been too happy with their end user license agreements. I switched off Adobe myself once they switched to that subscription basis, and I haven't been happier. But they made a leak, and basically we are getting 2 Sigma lenses start shipping soon. And these are the ones that were announced earlier. It's the Sigma 30mm f1.4 DCDN Contemporary and the 56mm f1.4 DCN DN Contemporary. Now, how do we know it's those 2 lenses? Well, they published an Adobe Camera Raw update, and in the release notes and the information around it, guess what they had? Those 2 lenses. So what that tells us is those lenses will start shipping. I was going to say an announcement, but those lenses will start shipping very soon. I would be surprised if it's in the next couple of days to a couple of weeks. So really exciting stuff. And don't forget, we're also expecting a firmware update for the R5 Mark II. That was supposed to happen by the end of October. So who knows? With an October announcement for some new products, let's see, what are we now, the 15th? Now we could get something Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week, or maybe next week. Interesting, right? Anyhow, I want to say a big thanks to all of you tuning in. And for those of you that do use my smart pre-order links, the one listed down below, the ones I talked about earlier before, or my affiliate links, there's a ton of sales on right now for Canon and Nikon across the board. If you do use my affiliate links, I get anywhere from 2 to 5% back, and that's what keeps this channel on the air. A big thanks to all of you that have used them in the past for pre-ordering from Adobe, from Adorama, B&H, and Amazon.com. It's very much appreciated. It doesn't cost you anything extra. You don't have to jump through hoops. You don't have to put in any codes, fill out any forms. It just takes you directly to the link. You get a brand new lens that you're excited about, and I get a small commission or fee from the retailer, so it's the best of both worlds. Anyhow, thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, a great week, and we'll see you again soon. Most likely, very soon.